This is a story about a frog princess. You may have read a story about a frog prince once upon a time, or had it read to you. This is about a frog princess. Once upon a time there was a prince who was convinced that he was a frog. It may have begun with a mean nursemaid who referred to him as, "You silly frog." But after a while, even though she was long gone, the prince, whose name was James, continued to think of himself as a frog. Whenever anyone referred to him as handsome or talented or even intelligent, he denied it and said, "Nah, I am nothing but a frog." None of his brothers or sisters could understand why he acted this way. They made fun of him. Soon all he would do was sit out in the garden by the pond and try to catch flies. "This won't do," said his mother. "Something must be done." "This won't do," said his father. "We must do something." He called all his wise men and women together to hold a consultation. "Have your best artist paint the prince's picture. When he looks at it, he'll know he's not a frog," one suggested. The others nodded, and soon it was done. "That is a picture of someone else, not me," said the prince, who thought he was a frog. Once again the wise men and women came together. "Have your finest bard, the singer of songs, make a song in praise of his intelligence and his talents," came the suggestion. All agreed this was a fine idea. But at the end of the song, although everyone else thought the song was quite wonderful, the frog frowned. The prince, who thought he was a frog, frowned and said, "That's about somebody else, not me." However, the queen thought, "I'll buy him some beautiful robes," and she did. And the palace jeweler made him a beautiful crown. But the prince ignored them. He spent most of his time by the pond, swimming in the water, sitting on a rock in the sun, and trying to catch flies. Most of the time he didn't even come in at night, and his clothes began to get moldy. One day a real frog hopped up to him. "Who are you, and why are you sitting here?" she asked. "I'm sitting here because I'm a frog, and that's who I am." "You're a what?" The frog hopped closer. "You don't look like a frog." "Well, if you're a frog, I must be a princess." She hopped back to her friends and told them all she was a princess. "You're a princess? Ha, ha, ha. Where's your crown and robes?" they all said. "Good point," she said, and hopped back to the prince. "Got a crown and robes I could borrow?" "Sure," he replied, and went back to the palace to get the ones his mother had given him. "Hey," he said, "better you than me." She put them on, but they didn't fit. "Well, I guess they don't work," she said. "You put them on and show me how they look on you." "I never wore them," he said. He tried them on. They fit very nicely. "Ooh," said the frog, "they look wonderful. Look at yourself in the pond." They hopped and walked over to the pond, and Prince James looked at himself. Suddenly there was a loud chirping from all around the edge. "Long live the prince! Long live the prince!" "Who is that?" he asked in surprise. "Those are my fellow frogs. I asked them to come and look at you because you're so handsome." "Me handsome? But I'm a frog." "Well, so am I." And you think I'm really handsome?" "I think you're the most beautiful frog or prince I ever saw." "I wish we could get married," she said bashfully. "I've wished it for ages, ever since I first saw you sitting on that rock so long ago." "Let's," said the prince, and he picked her up and he kissed her. Instantly he turned into a real frog, slipped out of his royal robes and crown, and together the frog prince and his princess hopped off to the old hollow log for a grand wedding. That evening the gardener found the prince's clothes and crown by the side of the pond. Sadly he brought them to the king and queen. Everyone assumed he had drowned. Although they were sad, all of the other children comforted the king and queen and made them feel better soon. The king and queen had many other children, all very wonderful indeed, none of whom thought they were frogs. But meanwhile, James had never been happy in the palace, and now he and his beloved lived happily lived with the lily pond and all the other frogs, and raised many, many families of frogs, all very handsome indeed. Well, it's been wonderful having you visit with me at Heartwings Place. I hope you liked our story and our songs and all the different things that we have shared. And I hope you'll come back and visit me again many times. In the meantime, wherever you are, whatever you are doing, remember, there is always someone who loves you. Now it's time to say so long. Please come back and visit soon. Just remember I love you when you sing this little tune. Heartwings Place is a happy place, a happy place, a happy place. Heartwings Place is a happy place to be. Heartwings Place is a happy place, a happy place, a happy place. Heartwings Place is a happy place to be.